online or at work. The organisation's CEO, Jono Nicholas, joins us now in the studio. Jono, good morning.
Good morning.
Millions of kids going back to school today. What's the best advice that parents can give their kids going back to school?
The best advice is expect the best but prepare for the worst.
Yeah.
So we know that 1 in 4 young people in any given year will experience bullying, but that also means 3 in 4 won't. So what I would say to parents is make sure that you are optimistic about your child going to school, hope they'll have a great time, but also let them know that if they don't go, things don't go well, there are places that people can access for support.
And what's the definition of bullying? What comprises it?
Look, it's one of those tricky ones. Probably the easiest thing for parents to say, your child deserves to be happy, well and safe. If they are not feeling happy, well and safe, we need to respond. And it's likely that that may come because of another student or altercations at school, but it's really about how do we respond? Can we respond early? Can we deal with it effectively so they can move on with life?
Yeah. And who do they go to?
Look, the first thing that we heard from young people themselves was they're more likely to turn to parents as their first port of call. Obviously, if it's experienced at school, the best thing that the parent can do is talk to the principal, talk to the teacher, be really calm, investigate and take an open mind to the solution. And if that's not really getting the response, then you can take steps from there.
What about kids who are really worried that if they bring it up, it'll get worse?
Look, I think that's one thing that parents can talk to their kids about before something goes on, which is say, you deserve to be happy, well and safe. If something is going on, doesn't necessarily mean that telling me will make it worse, but it means that we have, as a family, we have to deal with it so that you can go to school and feel really good.
And tell us about this study that you did.
It was a study of 1,000 young people aged 14 to 25. And as you said, what it showed was bullying happens where young people gather, but most likely in school. So I know a number of parents are really worried about online bullying, but what this does is remind us that schools are the number one place where it happens, and we need to really deal with it effectively and early.
It seems that there's been so much more awareness around bullying in the last several years. Has that had an impact on the incidence of it? Has it been decreasing, or are we seeing a consistent level of it?
Well, we're not really seeing a decrease in bullying. I think one of the great things that's happened due to the awareness is people are responding better. We're seeing a lot more schools with better policies. We're seeing services like reachout.com, which is obviously an online service, having these sorts of programs to deal with it specifically. So I think the great thing is if you are a young person now, as perhaps a generation ago, that it may happen to you, it may happen at the same rate, but the response that you're likely to get from a school or support services like Reach Out is really world class.
And what's the key to society addressing it overall, like through the images that kids get through the mass media and movies and series that they might watch? Is society generally shifting towards a position where bullying is not seen as okay, and we will get to a stage where it does actually decrease?
Look, I hope that we will get to a stage where it decreases. Obviously, if you're looking at world events at the moment, you're not seeing a lot of great leadership from folk like Trump and Putin and others who really are known as bullies. So I think as parents, you can use that to say, this is how you shouldn't behave. If this is experiencing... if this is something that you're experiencing, then there are different ways to behave. There are different ways to be well.
And so what's some specific examples, say, of Donald Trump that parents could point to if they say to their kids, this is not an appropriate way to act?
Look, I think that if you go back to, for example, one of the debates where he was standing in a very aggressive manner behind Hillary Clinton and say, look, if you were her, how would you feel? If you were feeling that someone was using that language about you, continually calling you a liar when you weren't, then how would that make you feel? And often we can use these things to say to kids that words hurt, actions hurt, but if you are feeling unsafe, the great thing is that there are also people who care about you, and there are also responses that you can make. And that's really important for kids also to know, is that if they tell someone, they will get a positive response. People will take them seriously.
Okay, just finally, very briefly, if people want to get more information, what's the Reach Out address?
So they can jump onto reachout.com. There's a specific service for young people, but also a specific service for parents of teenagers looking for added help and support.
Great. Jono Nicholas, thanks for coming in.
Thank you so much.
Now, tonight on the Backroads program on ABC TV, we find out more about the tiny Victorian town of Harrow.